world where we have real estate business or sector growing, we should also not forget the construction part of the business, which is very vital when it comes to how a nation can grow, how a nation can develop. Now in the studio today, I'm joined by Joseph Ngwadzura, who is a construction expert, who's going to tell us more about the projects that we can endeavor on, the projects that the nation can actually embark on in order to bring development in Zimbabwe. Welcome to Your Wealth, a show that looks at all things money, markets, and investment. And I'm your host, Kudzai Phil Muchenjeva. How are you, Joseph?
I'm fine. How are you?
Awesome. I'm great. Now let's get straight into it. I understand that you're an expert in the construction sector. Can you tell us a brief background about yourself and how you got into this industry?
Okay. Thank you for having me. My interest in the construction industry started early 2000s. And this was sparked by a fascination with the built environment. And I have since earned a BSc degree and various construction project management qualifications. And this was really necessitated by the passion that I have for the construction industry. So at the moment, I'm also an expert working for a company called Timcon, where we possess invaluable experience across the diverse construction projects, from the residential and commercial buildings to roads. As a company, we had recognized that there's immense potential in Zimbabwe because it's a developing nation. And this is truly the thing that solidified our commitment to this industry.
Yeah. Well, interesting. You mentioned about Zimbabwe being a developing country, and there's a big market when it comes to construction. Now, I just want to find out from you, do you think we have more of constructions, taking place, out of Harare, because I've seen a lot of people, building houses in the urban areas, Harare, and stuff like that. But are we going to see, construction also taking, place outside of Harare? Because when we go through highways, we see there's a lot of land that's there. Do you have a plan of, taking up that space and utilizing it for construction of probably of businesses, hotels, stadiums, and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think the general trend that's happening in terms of migration, people are moving away from the rural areas to the urban areas. Or I may say the rural areas, they're actually going to be less. We're going to have a lot of urbanization in the rural areas. So there's a lot of construction that's going to take place because of that. And because we have got a lot of, our population is increasing, so there's going to be a lot of construction for housing, demand for construction for housing, and also the construction of our roads, because we are a developing nation. There's room for growth. Unlike other developed nations, there's room for growth. So there's going to be a lot of construction going on, and I think if you're an investor, construction is the business to be right now.
All right. Okay. Now, can you provide a general overview of the current state of the construction market in Zimbabwe?
Okay. The construction market in Zimbabwe is experiencing gradual recovery and growth, and this has been driven by both private and public initiatives. The government infrastructure projects, particularly in transportation and energy, have been very good, because as you can see right now, we've got the Mbudzi interchange being constructed. The Harare Bay Bridge Road is being constructed, and then with the road, the Parliament Road was also recently constructed. So there's a lot of construction taking place. And then in the energy sector, I think the government right now, they're initiating the Wange Unit 9 and Unit 10 projects. So the energy sector and the transportation sector, the government has been doing very well. And not also to underrate or undermine the residential and the commercial property developments. For example, here in Harare, I think we've got a lot of projects going on. Recently, there was the Highland Park, which was constructed as a commercial property, and then there are also a lot of residential estates that are sprouting. The north of Harare, I think we had North Gate Estate, and also there's Borodo Park. So there's a lot of construction going on, both residential and commercial. And then because there are a lot of challenges, because right now, as you know, that Zimbabwe, we are maybe coming up from economic decline. So we had challenges, because right now, if you look at it, we have got challenges with the price of materials. If you just take a simple look, we import our cement from, most of the cement that we use, we import it from Zambia, where the price of cement is half the price as compared to the amount that we pay here in Zimbabwe. So there's a lot of challenges that are there. And also we've got challenges like accessing land and accessing finance. Because of Zidera, we don't have any external funding. So there's a lot of challenges in our populace accessing finance. So despite all these challenges that are there, there's a lot of optimism, and there's increasing activity. Recently, I think for the past 5 years, there's been increased activities in this sector.
All right, interesting. Now, how has the construction industry evolved in recent years, and what are the trends that are currently shaping the sector?
The evolution of the Zimbabwean construction industry in recent years reflect the global trends. We have seen a shift towards more sophisticated construction techniques, such as modular and prefabricated techniques. And the key trends that are currently that we're currently doing here in Zimbabwe. The first one, I think this one, even the building that we are currently in, is about sustainability. I think this is one of the first buildings to be rated as one of the most sustainable buildings in Zimbabwe. So the first trend is about sustainability, where we've got energy ratings of buildings. In the US, they've got a LEED rating. In the UK, they've got the BREEAM rating. And then the second one.
Let me just hold you there, Joseph. I think we'll take this further in the second segment, where we'll continue with you giving us the trends that we have in Zimbabwe as this construction industry is evolving. So we'll catch up in the second segment. Well, thank you very much, viewers, for joining us for the first segment of Your Wealth. As you've heard, Joseph was telling us how construction is involved, and also being a good, space where investors can actually invest in. So we'll be back shortly with the second segment, where we'll talk much more about the challenges in the construction industry, and also he'll further elaborate on the issues to do with the trends in the construction sector. So we'll be right back in the second segment. Welcome back to the second segment of Your Wealth, and today we're talking much about the construction industry. And from the discussion that we just had in the first segment, we noticed that construction is part and parcel of every sector in Zimbabwe, and it is a very, very vital component, and people should actually, put more focus on it. And we're just going to be continuing having this conversation with Joseph, who is a construction expert. And as we were talking in the first segment, Joseph, you're talking about the trends that we now have in the construction segment, in this construction sector. Can you please just continue with that?
Okay, the second trend that is technological integration, whereby a lot of construction firms, they are using BIM software, that's building information modeling. And they also use drone survey, and they also use construction project management softwares. These ones, they increase efficiency when you're doing a project. And then the third one is there's a lot of emphasis on local sourcing. I think if you go back to 2014, our government, with the way they constructed the Harare-Bulawayo Road, they outsourced it to Group 5, the South African company. But I think this is 2022, 2020, we had to use our local guys, we had to use our local contractors. So there's also an emphasis on local sourcing. And then there's also public-private partnerships, which the current administration, our government, they've used it to good effect. Because we have also the Mbudzi interchange. The government is involved with financing, and the execution is done by local companies.
Okay.
And these trends, they actually have a good effect on how we do construction, because they make sure that we don't use a lot of our resources paying foreign companies. Okay. So our government has been very good in trying to promote local companies.
Local companies.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much for illustrating that. Now, moving on to my next question, what are the biggest challenges facing the construction industry? I know you mentioned a few, but now we can just dig deeper into those challenges.
Okay. The first one, I think, it's currency fluctuations. Because most of the products that we use for construction, they are imported. So if there is fluctuation in our currency, this is going to affect the project costing and the overall financial planning. That's the first one. And then we also have high cost and availability of financing, of finance. Because of the data also, our local institutions, they don't have a lot of access to external funds. Okay. So because of high funding, high financing costs, it's very expensive for any construction project to be undertaken. And also we have a lack of skilled labor. Okay. When I say skilled labor, I'm talking about experienced labor, because we've got a lot of graduates that are coming up, but once they gain experience, they go out of the country. Okay. So we've got migration of labor, which is also affecting how we do our projects. And also we have got a lot of bureaucracy and regulatory hurdles, whereby if you want to have your plan approved by the Harare City Council, sometimes it takes a long time, and that affects project funds, project budgets. So that's another hurdle that we are facing. And also there is another thing, which is high import costs. Okay. As I had alluded earlier, that cement, we import most of our cement
from Zambia. Yes.
From Zambia. And the cost of that is actually double the price in Zambia. Most of our citizens, they pay double the price of cement as compared to the Zambian citizens. Okay. So that also contributes to the construction cost of any project. Okay. And then there's also delayed payments. Contractors, they need to be paid timelessly, because if you pay them, if you delay their payment, it's going to affect their cash flow.
Okay. Yeah. Well, these are some real challenges that the industry is facing. Now, moving on, how do you balance cost efficiency with maintaining high quality standards in construction projects? I heard you talking about money being an issue in regards to construction. So how do you balance cost efficiency with maintaining high quality standards in construction projects?
Okay. Cost efficiency, if you are a serious contractor, balancing cost efficiency and quality in construction is very, very important, because that's going to determine your how you're going to price your projects, and it's also going to determine your profit margins. So it is very, very important. So what we do at Timcon, the first thing that we do, we've got 5 things that we do. The first one is value engineering, whereby we look at the design stage, the design stage, and then we analyze where we can identify cost-saving opportunities without compromising functionality and safety. This involves exploring alternative material designs and construction methods. That's the first one. And the second one, the second thing that we do is we do efficient project management, whereby we implement good project management systems to ensure that we deliver the project on time and within budget. And then the third one is also skilled labor. Make sure that you invest in training. You invest training your employees so that they know what they are going to do. This is very necessary because, as I had said earlier, that most of our graduates, most of our skilled laborers, they go out once they gain experience. So you must make sure that you invest in training. Yeah. And then the other thing is the thing that we do in trying to balance efficiency and quality is quality control processes, whereby we make sure that there's stringent control of measures at every stage of the construction process, from material to the final end of the project. And then the other one is the other one is strategic procurement, whereby we go into agreements with the suppliers, and then we negotiate favorable terms with the suppliers, and we also do bulk purchasing options, whereby it's going to save a lot of money, and then our client is going to be happy because we will not have used a lot of money for procuring materials. And then we also do adoption of appropriate technologies. Because, as you know, right now we are in the age of AI.
Yes.
And we've got a lot of systems that we can employ so that we can do we can do our project efficiently, and we can do it accurately using appropriate technology. And I also mentioned BIM, building information modeling. I also mentioned drone surveys. These technologies, they help you to manage a project effectively.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Joseph, for bringing that to light. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people who are watching, who are in the construction industry, can actually agree with you in terms of how technology, is coming of hand, especially in this era that we are in. How AI has come into, to actually be of help. But this I think I'll ask you as we get into the third segment of how you're then managing the issue to do with substituting, technology with humans. But again, I think we'll talk about that in the third segment. Well, thank you very much, viewers, for joining us for the second segment where we are talking about construction sector. And I'm hoping that you are learning one or few things that can help you get knowledge on how the construction center, the construction sector is run. We'll be back in the third segment where we'll talk more about this. Welcome back to the final segment of Your Wealth. In the studio, I'm joined by Joseph Wanzura, who is a construction expert. And today we're talking about how vital this sector is, especially in the developing of our nation. And from what we've discussed, we've seen that it's a very, very, very vital component in terms of how it can be integrated in all the sectors in order to achieve the development of our nation. So we're just going to continue with this discussion and get to understand how the sector is run, what happens in the sector, the challenges they face, and also the plans that they have in the future. Now, Joseph, I just want us to continue with our discussion, and this time I'm just going to ask you this question. How do construction companies manage the financing and investment for large-scale construction projects?
Okay. Managing financing in large-scale projects is very tricky, and it requires multifaceted approach. You must make sure that the first thing that you must make sure as a construction company, you need to have equity investment. By equity investment, I'm saying your own resources as a company, your own savings. Then, if your own savings they are not enough, you do debt financing. You approach financial institutions, and then they can lend you money. And then there's also another thing that you can do is public-private partnerships, meaning the government, there's collaboration with the government. The government can provide the funds, and then you can do the execution of the project. And also, this one is being done by most property developers. This is called pre-sales and off-plan sales. Whereby before they do development of a particular land, before the property developer does development of a particular land, he sells different portions of the land to clients. So that can also finance their activities. And also another one is supplier credit, whereby we can negotiate favorable terms with the material suppliers, and then you can pay them later when you get paid by your client. And then there's also joint ventures. If your capital is not enough, you can join with other like-minded companies and tackle the financial aspect and also the expertise aspect. And there's also an issue where you can seek funding from equity firms. You can seek funding from them. They can also give you funding for your projects. So there's a lot of thorough financial planning that is required when you are handling large projects. So this requires detailed cost projections, and robust risk management are crucial for securing funding for large-scale projects.
No, awesome. Now, what advice would you give to investors looking to enter into the construction industry?
Okay, for investors looking to enter the construction industry in Zimbabwe, they must know that Zimbabwe is a developing country, and there's a lot of opportunities. Unlike developed countries, there's a lot of opportunities. If you put your money, you are guaranteed that you're going to double it in a couple of years. So there's a lot of opportunities. So, but they need to, before they do that, they need to make sure that they conduct a thorough market research, understanding the specific market segments and demand drivers. And then they also need to partner with experienced local players, because local players, they know the landscape best. So you need to partner with the local players. And then also you need to know what's your focus niche, or what do you really want to do, because you just can't, because the construction industry is a very broad industry, and we've got a lot of different segments. So you need to know what you want to get into. And then you need also to prioritize risk management. Know what you're getting into. Be aware of the political and the economic risks, and develop strategies to mitigate them. And then you also need to build strong relationships with the government and different local authorities and suppliers and potential clients. And also you need to understand the regulatory framework. Regulatory frameworks are different in each and every country, so you need to understand how the regulatory framework works in Zimbabwe. And I can say there's also a need to be patient when you've invested in a country like Zimbabwe, because you should not expect that you have invested $1 million today and then next month it's 2 million. So you need to be patient and then understand everything, and then you'll be okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Now, what would you like to see policymakers do to support the growth of the construction sector?
Okay, policymakers, they've got a crucial role to play in fostering growth of the construction sector. I would like to see them. I think the first one is to create a stable and predictable economic environment. That's the first one. Any investor would like to invest where they know that the policies are not going to change overnight. So they need to create a stable and predictable economic environment. And then they need also to improve access to affordable financing. This is very important, because a lot of our citizens, they don't have a lot of money. But if there is affordable financing, people can go and borrow money for constructing their homes. People can borrow money for developing their businesses, their construction malls. That's very important. So we need affordable financing, and we need also the regulators, our lawmakers, to streamline regulatory and permitting processes. If someone wants to invest money in a country like Zimbabwe, they need to know that it's not going to take a long time for them to get access or to get permission to build a building or to do a power project. It needs to have a certain reasonable time frame. And then there's also things like investing in infrastructure development. Our policymakers, they should invest in infrastructure development. And I'm glad to say that our current administration, they've been doing that. They've been investing in our roads, they've been investing in our power projects. And also, we need to have local support for our manufacturers. That's also one of the most important things for our regulators, for our policymakers to do.
Good deal. All right, interesting. Now, as a parting shot before we close the program, what do you want to say?
Okay. The construction sector in Zimbabwe holds immense potential for growth and development. The government is doing its part by investing in roads and energy sectors. While challenges exist, the opportunities to contribute to the nation's infrastructure and built environment are significant. Success in this requires a combination of technical expertise, business acumen, resilience, commitment to quality and innovation. I encourage all sectors, government, industry players and investors to collaborate and work to unlock the full potential of this vital sector to the benefit of Zimbabwe. And we at Timcon Africa, we are ready to collaborate and unlock the full potential of Zimbabwe.
Oh, thank you very much, Joseph, for coming through and sharing with us, the ins and outs of the construction industry.
Thank you.
Right. Well, there you have it, viewers. This was Joseph Gwanzura, who is a construction expert, who was just giving us, just a tour of what the construction industry is like, the challenges they face and the opportunities that are being found in this industry. And we've heard from him that this is one of the industries where there is a lot of room for opportunities for investors to come in and also, collaborate in order to see this nation developing. So there you have it, viewers. Thank you very much for joining us for this episode of Your Wealth. My name is Kudzafi Umchenjekwa. See you next week.